Well, hi folks, and welcome to the next video in the tarot series. Now this video is going to be a little bit different because I'm not going to go through the next tarot key. I'm going to go through some of the books and tarot packs that I've used and that you might find very helpful in your personal study. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll go through a few of those. You'll find below the video a link where you can, if you want to get your own, you can buy them. Just click on the link there. There's also a link to my PayPal account where you can make a donation either monthly or a one-off. Will be gratefully received. So, the first book we're going to look at is Tarot, A Key to the Wisdom of the Ages by Paul Foster Case. Now, this is a really, really important book because Paul Foster Case was the person whose teaching I followed when I was studying the ancient mystery tradition. Now, Paul Foster Case was born in New York. So he was born in 1884 and he died in 1954 at the age of 70. I would have loved to have met Paul Foster Case, but unfortunately he died 8 years before I was born. But his teachings have gone on from strength to strength, and I just think they're second to none. The guy to me was a bit of a genius. He was a musician. He was an occultist from a very early age, and he studied occultism. And he also studied psychology, which in some ways could be seen as like a practical way of studying occultism on some levels. He was also the director of a magazine called Azoth, which was massive in the early and mid-1950s. He was a lecturer and he was a teacher of the ancient mysteries and the tarot, and he was really well known for that. He was the supreme chief of the Golden Dawn for the entirety of North America and Canada. And he was also a magician in the stage magician sense. And he was a member of the International Brotherhood of Magicians and also the International Guild of Prestidigitators. And Paul Foster Case moved on from the Golden Dawn to form his own mystical order known as the Builders of the Adytum, and he did this in 1922, and this is the work associated with that order. Now the book here, it takes you through all the tarot cards that I go through, and I use the tarot that he uses. There's the Fool, you remember, but they aren't coloured. Okay, that's the thing about the BOTA cards. They aren't coloured in because you have to colour them yourself when you're a member of the order. Now, he goes through every tarot key in his own particular way. To a certain depth, we go on these videos. We go quite a lot deeper than Foster Case does, but he does cover the symbolism of the cards. He goes through all the major arcana. He looks at every little aspect and symbolism. He doesn't go massively deep because the idea is that you start working yourself on the cards and you learn the ancient mysteries through interaction. Okay, so that's this card. That's this book. There you go. Like I say, underneath, if you want, in the description, there's a click if you want to buy one. Now, I was saying that you can't buy coloured versions of the BOTA cards. So the nearest pack to them is the Rider Waite pack. Now, the Rider Waite pack are very similar to the BOTA in many ways. Like, for instance, if you can look at the Fool of the BOTA and the Fool of the Rider Waite, extremely similar. As you can see, the Magician, BOTA, Rider Waite, and the High Priestess, BOTA Rider Waite. But having said that, there are differences as you go through the pack. But the good thing about Foster Casey's book is that he refers to these differences and explains them to you, so you can still use the book in relation to the Rider Waite pack. Now then, these fantastic cards were actually painted by a lady called Pamela Coleman Smith, who was, again, she was a member of the Golden Dawn. Okay. Now, Waite himself was a member of the Golden Dawn since he joined in 1891. He was also a Freemason, as Paul Foster Case was. He joined the Freemasons in 1901 and the Rosicrucians in 1902. So they were both serial joiners of organisations, but they were both, as you can see, very similar in their backgrounds. So that's the pack I recommend to go through this series of videos with me. Okay. Now the next book, the next pack we'll look at is the Thoth. The Thoth. Well, look at the book first. This is Aleister Crowley's Book of Thoth. Okay, Crowley lived from 1875 to 1947, and the book was first published in 1944. Crowley, of course, is a very, very well-known occultist, known worldwide, isn't he, really? He was born into a very wealthy family, but his background was of Plymouth Brethren. That was his family background. So you can see, with such a strict family background, that might be the thing that made him look for a freer mindset and spirituality. Now again, Crowley was incredibly intelligent, really intelligent, highly intelligent guy. He went to Trinity College, Cambridge, and he was initiated into the ancient mysteries of the Golden Dawn as well in 1989. So you can see again we've got the same, 1889. So you've got the same background for Foster Case, Waite, and Crowley. Now I think Crowley was very much misunderstood, and he courted this idea of himself as the most evil man in the world, and he had this reputation of being like the 666, the evil man. But I don't think he started off like this at all, because I've read some beautiful works of his, and they were masterful, they were genius works, and this is a fantastic read as well. He seemed to get a little bit unhinged later on in his life, I agree, but his earlier works, if you look into those, if you can read past the writing style of Crowley, you can really get some in-depth understandings of the mysteries. Now, this book takes you deeper into the teachings of the tarot than I do in my talks. And he goes off in what you might call a tangential direction, looking at it from a sort of different viewpoint than I've covered, which is good, because it still sticks to the basic teachings of the ancient mysteries, but it takes you off in a different direction psychologically, but still with the firm foundation of the ancient mysteries. So it's a deeper study. So if you want to go deeper into it, that's one way of doing it. Now, when you read it, if you do get a copy, then some of his writings are quite obscure. And this really, I think, is because when he was first taught the ancient mysteries as appropriate to the tarot, they were then secret. So he wasn't really flowing in a way that would give away the deeper mysteries, because they would only really just come out. So that's the tarot, the Book of Thoth, with Alexander Crowley. But associated with the book is the Thoth deck. Now, the Thoth deck, what can we say about this? It is massively original, an original interpretation of the ancient mysteries. But he can't. Like I say, it comes from the same foundation. He's just thought of these things in a different way. So the interpretations are very, well, individual. I mean, that is the Fool compared with our Fool. There doesn't seem to be any difference. So you have to really study and understand where he's coming from to be able to appreciate what he's doing. But it's a different way of looking at it, and that has got to be good because it widens your mind, which is, after all, what we're trying to do. So you can't just. I don't think you can just use these until you've done a little bit of work with his book. They were painted by Lady Frida Harrison, and it took her 5 years to do it, which is not surprising, really, from 1938 to 1948. But they are an amazing deck to study if you want to go off in a different direction. But going off in a different direction whilst you're studying the ancient mysteries. So now, another book. Now this is an incredible read. It's called The Tarot, A Contemporary Course of the Quintessence of Hermetic Occultism. It's by Muni Sadhu. Sadhu, yes. Now this takes you very, very deep. It was written in 1962, the year of my birth. And if you want to really get down there and get into it and really look at different directions and a deep study of the tarot, this is the book to look at. It's described as the first contemporary encyclopedic exposition of the great Western tradition since Eliphas Levi and Pappus, and they were the really big, well-known early occultists. So it's a deeper work, but it's also, at the same time, it's very practical for those who want to dig deeper into the study of the Major Arcana. This is the one. Just forgot to show you. This was one of my this is a very early edition of the Paul Foster Case book. I'm really quite proud of that. It's a lovely one. This is an aside. Now, the last book we'll look at is the Tarot, the Complete Handbook for the Apprentice. This is Eileen Connolly. Okay. Now, this is a lighter book. Okay. So, if you want to look into the Tarot on a scale which is not as deep, then this is the one for you. If you want to start off again and just go through the basic teachings that the tarot is, it's a less philosophical and it's an excellent starter book. But it's still very practical and still relates to the ancient symbols. It's a great sort of self-improvement book. It's in 3 different sections, so I'll just read the sections out so you can get an idea of what this book is. Right, beginning your apprenticeship, learning the minor arcana, learning the court cards, learning the major arcana, understanding the minor arcana, understanding the major arcana, and then the bottom one is steps to divination. So if you want to use the cards for divination purposes, this is your book. Well, I hope that's a help to you and helps you through the videos that I make and going through the various cards. And if so, and if you want any of these, as I said, I'll put them all in the description below, so you just click on those and you can get yourself a copy. And there's also my PayPal account there, which you can click on and give a donation to help me do all this. You can do a monthly or a one-off donation. And believe me, it will be greatly received. See you in the next video.